process is much better because we can capture organisational data and information in a much easier way so that we can make sure that everybody who works for Monmouthshire has a supportive and meaningful conversation whilst they work.
For me, it's about having the information in one place. I've met teams before and they say it's all over the shared drive, other people can access it. Now it's private to you and your manager, and then it's your record throughout the organisation, so if you change teams, it's going to be with you rather than your manager.
It's confidential.
Yeah, and it's live, so you know you're doing it in the present as well. You're not having to go back to old or maybe outdated information. What's there is in the now, and I think that's really important for our teams.
And one of the things I'd agree with what Emma said about it being in the same place. So for me, yeah, that's one of the great things about it, is because I can go onto the same place, my view, where we record it now, and I can record it in the same place that I would record annual leave and mileage and stuff. So yeah, brilliant.
So it links you to all your team members automatically,
For me it's really good because as an area manager managing an area, and the information is accessible, is portable, wherever I am with my team, the information is there.
Okay, so recording the conversation's really straightforward. You log on to My View as you normally would. Scroll down on the left, you'll see to the word questionnaires. Click questionnaire, and if you see across here, there's different types of questionnaire you can select. So you can select check-in, check-out performance appraisal, and then you need to click complete form. So there's some info at the top of the screen which again explains the purpose of check-in, check-out the appraisal process. You need to then enter a post number or ID. So I'm going to attempt to enter that now. So there's the post number or ID, and type in the post title. Type in the manager or supervisor's name, so in this case that's me. Then click on the calendar. We'll help you choose a date for when you're going to record the actual discussion, so I'll choose today's date. And you can also program in and schedule your next one, so I'm going to schedule in a follow-up in 3 months from now. So there we are, choose that date. Okay, so next, the check-in, check-out status, as you see there. This helps to make sure the system is accurate. It helps us to make sure that everything's up to date. So choose the appropriate status for your employee. So from a choice of, is it a casual post? If you're recording that the check-in, check-out appraisal has been completed, or whether the employee's left, or whether they're no longer managed by you, it's really important that you complete this, again, to make sure the system's up to date. So this part hasn't changed, so you'll be familiar with the next part in terms of actually recording. So the next part you go down to then, once you've done this bit and you've entered in all the appropriate dates, is you'll be familiar then with the 5 questions. So this again is about your discussion in terms of recording the skills, knowledge and behaviours of the role, along with any current progress and what needs to happen next. So you'll type in there, during your discussion you'll be agreeing what are the right skills, knowledge and behaviours required in the role, and considering what's important in terms of the role profile, etc. So I'm going to assume now that you will have followed these questions and you've filled it in, and then you get to the actual final part of actually recording it, which is the objective area. So this is where you capture what's been agreed, what tasks or outcomes there are to be achieved, any support required, and this can be, you know, time, people or other resources, and there's space to let us know what your training needs are. So in terms of a test, if I typed in a task that we'd agreed to be completed, you may have agreed support could be coaching, could be either one-to-one or to work alongside someone else. Now what you'll then see is, in terms of learning and development needs identified, these directly link to the pathways which are on the hub. So there's a link there which you could click to give you direct reference back to the pathways and the available support. We'd also like you to choose, in terms of learning and development needs, does it come under these categories, behaviour and communications? Is it a business focus training need? Is it digital explicitly? Is it something around leadership and management, the person's role as a public servant, understanding customers, or is it to do with well-being and personal development? So this helps us actually to link it back to the pathways, but also it helps us to kind of keep a track on what types of training needs are coming in. Underneath that then, you can put the specific need, so it could be anything from writing a business plan, or whatever need you identify. Then you're going to be agreeing when this is going to be completed by, so perhaps we would, for this test one, I would perhaps go a month from now. We would agree that that's when the task or outcome is going to be completed by, and the support we've agreed to make that happen. So this very, very straightforward recording it. The last part then is completing any other objectives or tasks that need completed. We've actually, you can record on this form up to 10 if you need it. You don't have to fill in all 10, but we think that probably 10 different boxes is probably more than enough for most people to capture their appraisal, etc. And then when you're done, you'll see the links below where you can actually print the blank form if you choose. You can print the completed form so that you've both got a record if you really need to print it. So obviously think twice about that. You can save it if it's not yet completed so that you can come back to it at a later date. And then if it's all completed, you can also submit it. Now once you submit it, the appraisal is actually complete. We will then only receive any training needs, etc. So it won't be the whole form that we receive, because the whole form is actually stored on the employee's My View. Nobody else can see that. I think it's important that you know that. But getting those training needs submitted to us will help us to track and capture any training and support needs to make sure people really just have the tools to do their job.
I mean, I think this is great, because although it's exactly the same, there were some
criticisms where people said, you know, the 5 questions, well, when you've been carrying out a number of appraisals with the same person, that could become a bit stale. Yeah. So for me, this is a great reminder that it's actually about having a conversation. So you don't need to rigidly stick to those questions, but they're there as a prompt for a proper conversation.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a conversation, isn't it, about performance management and well-being, and all the supportive stuff that goes alongside that, so that people know what's expected of them in their role, and that we help them to achieve what they want to achieve in their role, setting objectives or providing some support.
That's absolutely right, and I think is having the opportunity to identify the skills, knowledge, attitudes and behaviours that are required. Specifically in my area of work, that would be customer relations, but it could be any area of work that you're engaged in and involved in.
Yeah, and I keep being told that, you know, we've got a low level of digital literacy. This will give me a real insight into what it actually is.
You can now record whether the person's got a need for digital skills, whether it's behaviour, communications, whether it's customer engagement skills, so whatever the category is, and that's linked directly back to the pathways, which again is brilliant for us to gather training needs.
Yeah.